cab. The lubrication chart was donated by the late Dwight C. Ackers, manager of Texaco's Railway Sales Division. Retired in Mount Dora in 1973 and joined the organization as first librarian, and he passed away in 1994. He printed over 1,000 of these charts and distributed them to railroad mechanical departments and roundhouses throughout the United States. Once the diesels replaced steam, most charts were taken down and destroyed, leaving very few originals in existence today. So from here, the Seaboard Airline Railway Locomotive 365, Class I-10-460 approached the Oxford, Florida depot 5 miles north of Wildwood, formerly Florida Central Peninsular Railway, number 210, built by Rogers in 1893. Florida Central and Peninsular Railway was absorbed by the Seaboard Airline by 1903. It's a postcard of the 4th Main Line depot built by the Atlantic Coast Line in 1927. Placed Church Street, but the Church Street facility continued to serve as the city ticket office. The Spanish Mission-style depot is located at 1402 Slade Boulevard, serves Amtrak today.
This is the dishes. You see those dishes? This is what the dishes were served when they rode the train.
Exactly.
You go in front of them, of dishes.
Holy cow. These are all different lanterns they would use along the track, as the brakemen or the firemen would use the signalmen. They would use like kerosene lanterns or some older lanterns they would use along the track in case danger approaches them, and they would wave it out ahead of the train, and as they approach the train approached the lantern, it would slow down or stop or proceed, which means go. And then got the Chicago World's Fair. The World's Fair in Chicago, 100 years. As the train rolls by. Of course, the Chicago World's Fair pennant, which I would actually like to get that pennant somehow. And they have a bunch of silverware plates. This is what they would use on the train for long travels by Amtrak. All these as well. Some very familiar sites I've been to is Sanford, Longwood, and Altamont Springs. The first train arrived in Orlando on October 2nd, 1880. It started as a trek south from Sanford, where steamboats docked on the trips up and down the St. Johns River. There you go. As the train is awaiting departure from the dock in Sanford, the South Florida Railroad built the 23-mile line between the two cities. Today, that same line sees Amtrak passenger trains, Sunrail, and CSX for Florida Central freight trains. There are a lot of train lines here in the state of Florida. In Longwood, it was constructed in 1900 by the South Florida Railroad. Longwood had a passenger service through the 1960s. Today, the Longwood Sunrail station is just north where the depot stood. The old one was torn down a while back. However, this line in Altamont Springs, built in 1910, when it was owned by the Atlantic Coast Line, covered canopy of the horse-drawn trolley to the nearby Altamont Hotel. the railroad terminal are gates to the glorious and unknown. And then we pass out into adventure, sunshine. To them, alas, we return. Large or small, the railroad depot was often the first building travelers stepped foot in when arriving Central Florida a century ago. In fact, the growth of towns on railroad lines flourished compared to those not served by rail when we look at the Sunshine State, as well as most states. As long ago, all passenger and freight traffic moved by rail, and the train stations enabled the communities to prosper. Travel along as we visit a few dozen depots that once dotted the Central Florida landscape. Okay, so before we do go, we're going to look at some of these tools that are used on the rails. I'm going to talk about some of these. So this plate actually would hold the rail in place, and then you take one of these spikes and it would go right in here. It would go right in this area like that, and then you take a hammer and you would hammer the rail in place so it wouldn't move or budge at all. It would stay in place and the rail would be perfectly smooth and aligned, which means straight, so it'd be comfortable for the train to travel on the track. As well as the wrench. Oh, this thing ain't heavy. It's actually a weight. This was sometimes used in the car, the speeder car. Speeder car is like that one that actually works on the rail when doing maintenance on the track. And trains aren't running at the time. They would take this and they would drill into the ground to make room to place the rail, take out the old rail, put new rails in them. Because old rails, they tend to rust, and you can see they kind of break off right here a little bit. And so they would replace the rails like that, and I can pick it up. I didn't think I'd be able to pick up a rail, but I can. So this wrench that I have in my hand here, this wrench, you actually pick up. That would tighten the bolts and tighten the rails on either in the ground or on the rail itself in the spikes, rail spikes. Now this wrench I cannot pick up. This wrench, extremely heavy. This was used for bigger jobs. This was used on the locomotive engine itself to tighten up screws or bolts as well. Any tools, tie plate, no. It's a tie plate. And then, but it was an extremely tough, hard, physical, demanding job before the machines of today were invented.
You need to close that.
Alright, so just wanted to wrap this video up from all of the exploring SpenVenture today, from the citrus orange groves and the citrus tower to the railroad museum in Winter Garden, which I like the town. It's a very small little town, a bunch of shops and restaurants, but it's just a little town in between Celebration and Disney, and or on the way to Disney. It's about 30 minutes away, 35 minutes, but local railroad museum there, and like I said, from the citrus groves of oranges, like on my shirt, to the railroad from my childhood, which I still love trains today. Thank you all for watching. If you're new, be sure to subscribe to SpenVentures. Drop a like on the video. Leave comments down below. And turn on that notifications ring that bell just like the train engineers and blow the whistle as you leave a comment. And we will see you all on the next SpenVenture. The vlog is over.